Queens and Wingate on Wednesday night, a matchup of number 1 and number 3 in the South Atlantic Conference standings, and we're joined by Royals head coach Bart Lundy. Coach, the Bulldogs, the only team to hand you guys a defeat this season, 71-64, 3 weeks ago here at the Levine Center. When you look back at that tape, what do you see from that game that handed you your only loss of the season?
I see, Wingate outplayed us. They just played better than we did. We didn't play with the intensity or the togetherness or the commitment to doing things the right way that had gotten us 19 straight wins. I don't think that was our best performance, but they outplayed us. They out-toughed us in the second half, 53-all with about 7 to play, and they wanted a little more than we did. So, it's a big test to go to their place and try to redeem ourselves.
Just to follow up on that, is it something that you feel was more your guys' just uncharacteristically inept performance that night, or something they imposed upon you? Because it could be a combination of both, even, because they are a pretty talented team in their own right. We've talked about it this year. They were picked number 2 along with you in the preseason in the SAC.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a combination. They're a good team, and a team that you got to bring your A game to beat, and we didn't bring our A game, so they outplayed us on our home floor. So, it's a good challenge for us. I think our guys take the loss seriously and learn from it as we continue to develop as a team. I think this is a good test. It's a team that we could see, on Wednesday night, but then again possibly in the conference tournament, possibly in the NCAA tournament. So, it's a long way to go, but we're looking forward to another challenge.
They had won 11 in a row before a loss in their previous game versus Lincoln Memorial. That includes the victory here at the Levine Center. That's after they started the season 3-7 overall, 0-4 in SAC competition. What's different about Wingate now as opposed to 2 months ago?
Well, they didn't have Curitin for the entire first semester, and I think that 11 out of 12 is exactly corresponds with him. I also think Josh Dominguez has really come into his own. Those two guys, Curitin adds not only a scoring and rebounding punch and the numbers, but a toughness to their team. So I think that's part of it. They had their point guard. They lost their point guard early in the year, and I think they've had to work through a lot of those difficulties, and I think they've just found themselves. So they're not a deep team, but what they have is really good.
Not that you might be concerned about this, but good or bad, they lost the other day. It does show a sense of vulnerability with this revamped roster that appears to be healthy for Brian Good's team.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go to Lincoln Memorial and I don't know what the percentage of your chances of winning there are, but they played Lincoln Memorial tough on national TV. They're a good team. We're a good team. We've got to be ready to play. We've got to bring intensity and the will to win, and leave everything on the floor to throw a bunch of cliches at you. But we got to play hard. We got to play hard. We got to play gritty and get stops and take good shots. Simple game. Make it simple, but play it really hard.
Last couple of games, you kind of appear to be back in that groove, at least a bit offensively. Granted, against some of the lower echelon competition in the SAC. But runaway victories. You said to me after the game the other night versus Brevard, the locker room's in a really good place right now. What do you mean by that? Elaborate upon that for us.
Well, I think that it's tough. It's tough when you have a lot of close games, and there are a lot of guys on the bench that haven't gotten many minutes. Those guys on the end of our bench are great. They're team players. But the camaraderie that happens when everyone gets to play, and the reversal of roles where the starters are now sitting there watching and cheering for the reserves, bring the team together, and that camaraderie and that togetherness really help your team.
Easier games, if you will, over the last week. Wingate coming up here on Wednesday. I'd imagine there's not a whole lot that you need to say to kind of reboot the guys and get them ramped up for this contest. So what's the message to the team throughout the week as a final thought?
Just that as always, we don't take anything for granted. We bring intensity and togetherness, play for one another, share the ball, and start it with a defensive mindset. So it's as it always is. I think they'll bring some motivation of their own. I don't have no doubt about that.
All right, Creans and Wingate on Wednesday night from Cuddy Arena on the campus of Wingate University. We'll have the play-by-play coverage for you on queensathletics.com/Royals Live. If this contest is anything like the first one where the lead changed 18 times, should be a good one on Wednesday night. Coach Bart Lundy, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Phil.